In this class, we're going to create a color using PatterMaker 7.5. So the first thing I'll do is to create a rectangle. I'll set the measurements for the rectangle. I'll type at, and then the width of the rectangle, 8 inches in this case, comma, height, 1.25, enter. Then I'll center my screen by pressing the end button on the right hand side of my keyboard. So this is the basic color draft. I'll label it using the text tool. Color, change the size 0.5, and then that's okay. And this is the center back of the color. I'll just indicate that. I'll reduce the size of the text and then change the angle to 270. Okay, that's still rather big, so I'll undo. I'll write the text. I'll enter the text, center back. And change the text size to 0.15 and the angle is 270. I can also put my label. I will enter the texts. And the angle is 0. Okay, now I'll add points to the rectangle. I'll use the add measured vertex tool and select the line and right click. So now I can enter the measurement I want to use, and that's 3 inches from the center back here. So I'll click, and that's the point. I'll add the same point at the top line, same 3 inches right here, and I'll add a point here from the center front 1 inch right here. So now I'm going to rotate my color upwards. So I'm going to use the rotate tool in the point menu, rotate vertex. So now I'm going to select the points I'm going to rotate, and I would right click, and using the snap end point, I can be very accurate with selecting the points. So now all I have to do is enter 0.5 inches on my keyboard and enter. So that's done. And then I want to round this point. So I'm going to use the round vertex tool in the point menu and click and right click, change that point. Now I'll use the snap off, put off the snap so that I can move this point to shape it the way I want. I'll select move vertex tool and then move. So now I'm going to notch my color using this notch tool here. Select the points I want to notch and right click. So I can notch. And then I would like to add another point here, a midpoint. I'll add vertex, midpoint of this line. And I can add another midpoint to this line too. So notches are very essential for production. So helps your tailors to assemble. So this indicates that this is the shoulder point. This tells the tailor this is the back, double notch. And of course, this is center back here. This is the front. So this collar is done. Now I'm going to add my seams. There are two ways to add seams in PatternMaker. I can select the offset tool here and click on this collar and right click, and I can add a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Decide how much you want to add. So right here, I have this seam allowance I don't need because I'm cutting on fold. You know, if you're cutting on fold, you don't need a seam allowance on the edge that is going to be placed on the folded edge of the fabric. So I always use this to do that, the Align X tool. I click on this point to use to align the other point, and I right click and then select the points I want to align and then right click again. So that's done. This is one way. I'll show you a second way to add seam allowance. You can use the draw menu. You can use the draw menu and select seam allowance here. So I'll select this, click, right click to select this edge. And yes, correct selection. So I will just put in the amount of seam allowance that should be there, which is 0. And then I'll continue drawing my seam allowance. And then I'll select another edge and right click. And then I'll put in the seam allowance I want, 0.5. And this time, I'm not going to continue. I'm going to close the drawing of the seam allowance. So right here, 0.5, affirm, and then seam allowance is drawn. If you watch this video, I'm sure you can do the same. So have a go. Thanks for watching.